Leave the guy on the table. His elbow's on the table.
The Strongmen are fast approaching, and their impact on the sport of arm wrestling might be greater than anyone could foresee. Something that perhaps isn't as widely recognized is the fact that strongest man competitions and arm wrestling have long been intertwined in their histories. With one of the most famous modern strongmen in Brian Shaw now retired and teasing his imminent arrival into arm wrestling, what better time to take a look at this interesting history and showcase some key characters. I am the Arm Historian, and today I'll be your tour guide as we explore strongmen in arm wrestling. Before we jump into it, may I implore you to leave a like and subscribe to the Arm Historian. The best way to tackle this subject might as well be in a chronological fashion. It is important to note that the concept of strongman has been around for a very long time, but the sport as we know it today wasn't realized and codified until 1977. Therefore, when I refer to strongmen from before this time, they usually participated in a slew of different strength feats and disciplines. These feats were often pretty similar in nature to modern strongman competitions though, so I believe there's still value in making the comparison and looking into these characters. Among these early feats of strength were often claims of arm wrestling prowess, with several strongmen being built as undefeated in arm wrestling, although the term arm wrestling was then often referred to as twisting wrists, or wrist wrestling, or Indian arm wrestling, and more such fanciful nomenclature. One such example of these strongmen from history that was also bestowed with accolades in arm wrestling was Arthur Dandurand. This Canadian with a relatively small stature was born in the latter half of the 19th century and later in life became known for having frighteningly strong hands and forearms. The man has also been built with shouldering a Model T car engine on his own and then simply walking away with it. He also became recognized widely for his arm wrestling prowess, having supposedly arm wrestled thousands of competitors while not accruing a single loss. At the age of 50, he still held the title of Canadian wrist-turning champion, although when exactly he acquired this title seems to have been lost to time. From the years of about 1906 to 1915, Arthur might have just been the highest-ranked arm wrestler in the entire world, with his background in strongman feats being undeniable. Another well-known strongman from the same era who dabbled in arm wrestling is the German Hermann Görner, who was well known for having incredible grip strength. He's also known for having wrestled an elephant and juggling heavy kettlebells. Having several weightlifting world records to his name by the mid-1930s, he found himself facing 6 top-tier heavyweight wrestlers of the time. In consecutive arm wrestling matches and in less than 1 minute, he handily defeated his stout competitors. Now to a more recent example, but this time of someone who started out as an arm wrestler and went on to join the strongest man competitions. In the Swedish Magnus Samuelsson. This veritable legend in the strongman community gained notoriety early on in the strength world by doing very well at arm wrestling. Samuelsson was highly ranked on the international arm wrestling scene and was even a European champion. After that, he transitioned into strongman competitions, reaching the finals a record-breaking 10 times throughout his career. Early on in his strongman competition days, Magnus was lucky to have arm wrestling included as one of the disciplines he had to compete in. The most famous of the arm wrestling bouts he had there was against fellow strongman Nathan Jones at the World's Strongest Man Classics in 1995. During the match, it became clear very quickly that Magnus was the better arm wrestler, and Nathan was putting himself in very compromised positions on the table. For many of us, looking back, it would be easy to predict what happened next. Nathan broke his arm during the match, and arm wrestling would never again be featured as an event in strongest man competitions. Now stepping into the modern age of arm wrestling, the frequency at which strongest man competitors are joining the sport of arm wrestling seems to be increasing. This tendency could be categorized as the very beginnings of what could become the dawn of strongmen in arm wrestling. Seeing as the strength, athleticism, and general build of these men are second to none, one could be forgiven for assuming their potential is extremely high in the arm wrestling world. One likely reason for this is that the possible longevity granted during a career in arm wrestling is found scarcely anywhere else. Especially compared to strongman, the strain being put on an athlete's body is relatively low in arm wrestling, and there have been and currently are examples of arm wrestlers staying active at a high level into their 50s and 60s. Among these strongmen that have dipped their toes in arm wrestling are Eddie Hall, Hafthor Bjornsson, Big Loss, and Brian Shaw, just to name a few. Perhaps one of the most prominent within arm wrestling of these men is Larry Wheels, who has previously trained for and competed in strongman competitions. Larry has put a heavy emphasis on arm wrestling training during the past years, has competed in several tournaments, and has even played a pivotal role in establishing one of the premier arm wrestling leagues of the modern age in King of the Table. His potential as an arm wrestler is undeniably very large. Another strongman competitor who has a substantial online following that is turning his gaze towards arm wrestling is Lauren Chalet, aka Big Loss. Big Loss has been showing an interest in the sport for a while now and has recently been taking his training for it more seriously. His connections with Neil Pickup, organizer of the infamous Arm Wars events, gave him a prime opportunity to jump headfirst into the competitive aspects of the sport. To his credit, Big Loss took the opportunity and ran with it, participating in a super match in a recent edition of Arm Wars Iron House. Ultimately losing the match, it was still clear he possessed great strength and potential for the sport. Brian Shaw is one of the most accomplished strongman competitors in history and has recently announced his retirement from the sport. He has been dipping his toe in and out of the arm wrestling pool for some years now, featuring in several YouTube collaborations where he is trying out the sport. Recently, he featured American arm wrestler Derek Smith in his podcast and trained arm wrestling with him for a couple of days, showing a genuine interest in the sport. Only several days before the creation of this video, Shaw released a photograph on his social media showing the humongous athlete training arm wrestling specifically. I know the arrival of such a true and tested force in the Western arm wrestling scene would be welcomed by many. There you have it, several examples of cases where the crossover between strongmen and arm wrestlers is clear. I, for one, would welcome the arrival of athletes from several different strength disciplines into the arm wrestling world, especially ones with such a pedigree as many of the strongest man competitors. Thank you for watching, and as always, a major shout out to the Armians and Fingerfolk who help make content like this possible. Are you looking forward to the dawn of strongmen in the modern era of arm wrestling? Let me know in the comments. Arm Historian, out.